Hello children, welcome to another English lesson. Still on narrative poems, today we are going to compare one poem with another. We are going to look at two new poems. First of all, what is the definition of the term compare? What do you understand by the term compare? The definition of the word compare means to find the similarities and the differences between two or more people or things. In this case, we are going to find the similarities and differences between the poem Lord Neptune and the shell. So we are going to read these two poems and compare them in terms of stanzas, lines, sentences, dialogue, language style, rhyme scheme, and refrain. Before we compare them, first of all, let's understand the meaning of the words rhyme scheme and refrain. What is a refrain? A refrain is a phrase, a line, or a stanza that is repeated throughout a poem. Remember the keywords, it's a phrase, a line, or a stanza. And it should be repeated throughout a poem in order for it to be termed as a refrain. Let's look at an example of a poem that has a refrain. Please read along with me. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Now, the refrain in this poem is represented by just a line per stanzas. Remember, it can be a phrase, can be a line, or it can be a stanza. Now, in our case, the refrain is represented by just two lines. Hold fast to dreams in stanza 1, as well as hold fast to dreams in stanza 2. So in this case, the refrain is represented by a line. Remember, it can be represented by a phrase or a stanza. Next, let's look at rhyme scheme. Remember, we are going to compare those 2 poems in terms of rhyme scheme as well. So before we compare them using this, we have to understand what a rhyme scheme is. A rhyme scheme is a pattern of sounds that comes at the end of each line in a poem and rhymes with other lines. It is usually referred to by using letters to indicate which lines rhyme. So we look at the words at the end of each line, represent them with a letter to show which lines rhyme. So if the words at the end of the lines rhyme together, we give them the same letter. If they don't rhyme, they take a different letter, or they take the next letter in the alphabet. So let's look at this extract from the poem The Shell. The prettiest shell that you ever did see, I found as I played on the beach. I laughed and clapped my hands with glee as it washed up with my reach. Now, the last words in each of this line. The first line has sea, the second one has beach, the third one has glee, and the fourth has reach. Now, the last line, the last word of the first line and the third line rhyme together. So we give them the same letter, that is A. Then the last word in the second line and the last word in the last line, they all rhyme. Beach and reach, they all have the same ending sound. That makes them rhyme. So in that case, we are going to give them the second letter in the alphabet, that is B. So the rhyme scheme of this particular extract here is A, B, A, B. Let's look at another example. This is an extract from the poem Lord Neptune that you are going to be looking at next. Let's read together. paying attention to the last word in each line. Build me a castle, the young boy cried as he tapped his father's knee, but make it tall and make it wide, with a king's throne just for me. The last word in the first line, castle. Castle will get the letter A. Then let's look at the last word in the second line, cried. Now, since cried does not rhyme with castle, it gets the letter B. The third word is knee. Knee does not rhyme with castle, does not rhyme with cried, so it takes the letter C. Next is the word tall. Tall does not rhyme with any of the first three that we saw, so it takes the next letter D. Let's look at the next one, wide. Wide does not rhyme with any of the last words that we have just looked at, so it will take the next letter E. The last one is me. Now, me rhymes with knee. So, me and knee will take the same letter C because they have the same ending sound. So, the rhyme scheme for this particular stanza will be A, B, C, D, E, and C. Now, let's look at the poems together. We are going to read these poems together. The first poem, Lord Neptune. Lord Neptune is about a boy and his father at the beach. The boy asks the father to build him a throne and a castle. The father does just that. But at dusk, the throne and the castle is swept away by the rolling tide. Let's read along. Build me a castle, the young boy cried as he tapped his father's knee, but make it tall and make it wide, with a king's throne just for me. An echo drifted on the wind, sang deep and wide and free. Oh, you can be king of the castle, but I am lord of the sea. Give me your spade, the father cried. Let's see what we can do. We'll make it wide so it holds the tide, with a fine throne just for you. He dug deep down in the firm damp sand, for the tide was falling fast. The moat was deep, the ramparts high, and the turrets tall and vast. Now I am king, the boy cried, and this is my golden throne. I rule the suns, I rule the seas. I am lord of all lands alone. The Sand King ruled from his golden court, and it seems the wind had died, but at dusk his throne sank gently down in Neptune's rolling tide. And an echo drifted on the wind, sang deep and wild and free. Oh, you can be king of the castle, but I am lord of the sea. Can you identify a refrain in the poem? Do you remember what we talked about or what we said a refrain is? Are you able to identify a refrain from the Lord Neptune poem? Next, let's look at the following poem, The Shell. The Shell is about a narrator talking about a shell that he found at the beach. The prettiest shell that you ever did see. I found as I played on the beach. I laughed and clapped my hands with glee as it washed up within my reach. At night when I lie in bed, my dear, and long for the sound of the sea, my shell I hold up to my ear. Its music is thrilling to me. Now that you have read these two poems, we are going to compare them in terms of stanzas. How many stanzas do they have? Lines, how many lines do they each have? Language style, rhyme scheme, as well as a refrain. So first of all, let's look at the similarities of these poems. The first similarity is that both of them have stanzas. Let's check that out. Can we identify how many stanzas in the poem? We can see that each poem has stanzas. After each and every group of line, there is a gap. Now that gap separates the stanzas from each other. Next. Both have 2 sentences per stanza. Let's confirm that. Let's take, for example, stanza 6 of the Lord Neptune. The Sand King ruled from his golden court, and it seemed the wind had died. But at dusk his throne sank gently down in Neptune's rolling stone. So the first sentence starts from this word, the first word here, to the word died. That is one sentence. The second sentence starts from but and ends in tide. So each stanza in this poem has 2 sentences. Same with the shell. The prettiest shell that you ever did see, I found as I played on the beach. That is one sentence. Starts from the word there and ends with the word beach and a full stop. I laughed and clapped my hands with glee as it washed up within my reach. The next sentence. So both the poems have 2 sentences in each stanza. Both are in dialogue style or voice, but without using punctuation for dialogue. Let's check that out. In both the poems, there is the use of dialogue, but punctuation marks have not been used to show words spoken by a person. Simple language. The next similarity is that both have simple language. And the language used here takes a personal tone. It's as if you're talking directly to, it's as if the narrator is talking directly to her or his audience. The language is simple and friendly. Next similarity is rhyme scheme at line ends. Both the poems have rhyme scheme at both the line ends, just like we saw when we defined the word rhyming scheme and we took an example or we took an extract of Lord Neptune, paragraph 1 of Lord Neptune. We took an example of stanza 1 of Lord Neptune and stanza 1 of the Shell. And we looked at how the last words in each line rhyme with another. And that's what gives us the rhyme scheme. Next, we are going to look at the differences these poems have. What we can find in the Shell and what we cannot find in Lord Neptune in terms of stanzas, lines, the rhyme scheme, and also what the poem is all about. In the Shell poem, there are 2 stanzas, but in Lord Neptune, there are 7 stanzas. In the Shell poem, there are 4-line stanzas, but in Lord Neptune, there are 6-line stanzas and a 4-line refrain. Let's look at that. How many stanzas do we have in the Shell? Let's see. 1 and 2. But in Lord Neptune, fortunately enough, the stanzas are numbered. So Lord Neptune has a total of 7 stanzas. The Shell has a total of 2 stanzas. What about the lines in each of the poems? We realize that in Lord Neptune, we have a total of 6 lines, while in the Shell, we have a total of 4 lines per stanzas. Remember what we said a refrain is? Did you manage to identify the refrain in Lord Neptune? Look at stanza 2 and stanza 7. This is a good example of a refrain. These two stanzas have been repeated in this poem, so it makes this a refrain. So how many lines do we have in this refrain? We have 4 lines for each of the refrain. Because they are the same, automatically they will have 4 lines. Let's look at the next difference. Each line in the shell starts with a capital letter. Next difference. The shell is written in first person point of view. Which words tell you that the poem is written in first person point of view? The words I and my used in the poem shows us that the poem has been written in first person point of view. What about Lord Neptune? Lord Neptune is written in third person point of view. The words he, his, and it shows us or tells us that Lord Neptune is written in third person point of view. Another difference is that in shell or in the shell poem, there is no refrain. It's just 2 stanzas, but no refrain. There's no line, there's no phrase, or a stanza that is repeated throughout the poem in the shell. Rhyme scheme. They all have different rhyme scheme, like we saw in the extract at the beginning of the lesson. The shell has ABAB rhyme scheme, while the Lord Neptune has ABCDEC rhyme scheme, like we saw before. But the refrain has a different rhyme scheme. Let's look at that. Let's look at the rhyme scheme in Lord Neptune. Stanza 2 and stanza 7 represents the refrain. An echo drifted on the wind, a sound. Let's look at the last words in each line. Wind, free, castle, and sea. Wind will take A. Free will take B. Why? Because it does not rhyme with wind. Castle will take C because it does not rhyme with neither free nor wind. And C will take B. Why does C take B? C takes B because C rhymes with free. So the rhyme scheme of the refrain is A, B, C, and B. The next difference is what the poems are all about. The shell is more of something found. The narrator found a shell at the beach. So the shell is more of something that was found. What about Lord Neptune? Lord Neptune is more of something lost. And what was lost? The castle and the throne were lost to the sea. Thank you very much for attending the lesson and see you next time. Remember to do your assignments as well.